Hi everyone. Recently I was contacted by a company to see if I was interested in looking at a lower price monitor. I do have some higher end monitors, but I thought, yeah, why not? Because this might be the ultimate sort of monitor to use with something like an A6400 or something like that. So it's actually the Desview, and I'll show you what the screen is in a minute, some of these features. This is actually the Mavo-P5. And it's really nice, like it's only 150 grams, so this is an incredible little monitor if you want to stick it on something like an A6400 or A6600 or something like that. Or also if you wanted something really lightweight to sit on a gimbal, because it is so light. I mean, that's without the battery. It also lasts a long time. Like if you're dealing with the really small battery like this, these are the MP batteries. Basically, they're the Sony batteries. This will last around 2 hours. If you put one of the bigger ones on like this, you're going to get 5 or 6 hours out of it. Now, I'll take you through the features in a second, but we'll have a look now at the unboxing, and then I'll take you through some of the features. Okay, so let's do the unboxing. So this is the box that it actually comes in. Just a standard box, but there's a whole stack of features. It tells you on the back what's included in this box, and also some of the specifications that you can see sort of down through here as well. So we'll have a look and see what's inside. You can see here that it's a 5.5 inch monitor, and on the back here it does tell you, or on the side here, it does tell you some of the features that this monitor has that I'll go through when we're actually doing the review itself, to show you what each one of these is. So let's have a look anyway and see what's inside. So we'll pull that off, lift this up. So it's just a two-part box. And then this part here is the monitor itself. Nice and light by the feel of it. So this is the monitor. I won't take this off yet, the cover, until I start doing the full review. But you can see there's just the battery compartment at the back. A couple of controls on the side. Like, I haven't even looked at the manual yet, so I'm not sure what there is or how this works. There's a few controls at the top as well that we'll look at when we start doing the review, and that's probably the on-off switch up the top through here as well. There is the HDMI cable on this side, and that's your DC in if you're running this from power as well. So that's that unit. So this here is the sunshade, so I'll have to work out how that gets connected. So in the box, there is the monitor itself. There's also an L-shaped holder. There's the sunshade. There's a mini HDMI cable and a micro HDMI cable, and the user manual, which is there as well. So looking at it, that's your micro HDMI, and that's your mini HDMI through here. And then this is the bracket that attaches to the monitor and then to your camera. So that's the holder there as well. So what we'll do is I'll put it all together and we'll start to look through some of the features of how this works. Okay, so let's just have a look. The monitor itself is really simple. All there is a couple of 1/4 inch threads here. They've got one there and one underneath there. On the top, you've got just your power button, which is here. And then here you've got 3 programmable buttons, and then your exit to get out of menus and things like that. This is just a little rocker sort of switch or a wheel. That's how you get through your menus as well. You just push that in and then you can get through your menus, which I'll show you. There is a Velcro around the outside. That's where you attach your sun hood to. On here, there is a microphone port. Now that's really handy because, like I said, if you're on the A6400, you can hear the audio out. And on the back, there's just the area where you put your battery into. And on this side here, there's just a HDMI port there that you can connect to your camera. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the features that this monitor actually has. If we look down here, basically this is a sharp monitor or screen, and it is a 5.5 inch, so it is a 5.5 inch screen with 4K HDMI input, so you can put your 4K footage into this, and the footage looks really nice. It looks really beautiful. The very, very sharp, beautiful colors, saturation and everything inside of that, and there's lots of controls that I'll take you through as we go through this. So let's look at some of the other features. It basically has wide color gamut. It's 1920 by 1080 high resolution. It also has low energy consumption. Like I said, you get hours out of those batteries. If we look down at the next one down here, you can see that it's designed with 2 1/4-inch threads. So there's one on the side which is through here, and there's also one which is underneath there. So you can screw this into different areas, or screw it to gimbals if you like, or put it directly onto the camera, and things like that, which is really nice as well. Let me just go back to the other page. Okay, so if we look at this, so you can see there that it's got this cold shoe mount that's on that little adapter, where you can put microphones and things like that on the side that you see through here, which is really nice. And there's different ways that you can mount it, like you see here down the bottom. But I love also that it does come with this little sunshade, which just velcros on the outside of the light itself. There's just the velcro, and this is one of the simplest ways I've seen of attaching these. So all you do is just simply use the Velcro, and then it's attached on. So if you don't want it on, you could then just take it off. Now, it's got 450 nits, so this is probably something you are going to need, and it's got 1000:1 contrast ratio. So I think if you're dealing with this out in the sun, you would probably need to put the sunshade on, and at least if you put this on, you're going to be able to see it. If you're dealing with working indoors and stuff like that, well, all you do is simply take that off, and then you can use it indoors without that. But that's one of the nicest solutions that I've seen for attaching one of these sunshades, because usually they're quite fiddly to put on. You can see here that it does have a HDMI port on the side, which I'll show you how this all works in a minute. I'll show you all the ports and buttons and things like that. And you'll notice if I go underneath here that you've got histograms, peaking, false colors, exposure, and I'll show you these all in the menu, how it works. There's grids you can bring up. You can show your audio. Pixel to pixel, check field, there's flipping your image if you want to have it upside down, etc. You can have anamorphic and zooming in on your image as well, and I'll show you how this all works shortly. But really nice. If we check down a little bit further, that's where you put your headphone socket into the bottom of this. That's where if you were using your A6400, for instance, it would be really nice, due to the fact that, like I said, the A6400 hasn't got a headphone socket, and I'm always a little bit worried about how the audio is. You can go from your red, green, blue modes, and I'll show you this when we start to go through the menus. There's focus peaking, etc. There's monochrome display as well. And your batteries just take the MPs. They're MP batteries, so they're the Sony batteries, the 970 and the 550. But let's look at some of the features that this has through the menus, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, so let's look at the menu system itself. All I do is I just press down the wheel there, and then you'll get to your functions. So there's auxiliary functions, auxiliary line, picture settings, color settings, hotkey settings, other settings, exit, and it tells you what resolution you're running at the bottom as well. So at the moment I'm running 1080/50p. And then your auxiliary functions, if I press down again, you'll move across, and then you can say turn monochrome display, and you can turn that on if you wanted to just say go black and white. Obviously I want to turn it off. You can also go to red, green, blue, so you can change your channels like that. Let me come back. You can have false color on or off, and that will give you your idea of settings for your color. And then you can have a display show up on the side too, so it shows you what the settings are, like your red is overexposed, things like that, you know, which works really well. Let me just turn that back off. You've got focus peaking. Now your focus peaking is just if you wanted to have an outline if you do a manual focus, and that's really good if you're trying to gain focus manually, which is great for video particularly. And you've got high, medium and low, I think, just high and low are set through there. You've got your focus peaking color, so you can have red, green and blue there as well. So if you're finding if it's contrasting and you can't see it with red, you could turn it to another color there as well. You've got zebras as well through here. Let me just go back. You've got zebras. You can have 70 IRE or 100 IRE if you want to bring your zebra patterns on for exposure. I'll just turn that off. Oops. You've got your histogram on, and you can see that's down the side through here. So that's how I've got my histogram showing through here, which I always love. And the volume bar is down here, and I've got that on, and you can see that through this section here, and camera mode as well. If I return back, your auxiliary line, this is where you can have center mark showing. Your safe area down through here. Let me just scroll down. You can see how that changes your safe area. Now your auxiliary line, which you see here, is your aspect ratio. So if I do click onto that, you'll see that then you can change your aspect ratio, and it shows you inside these grid lines that show up. So that's nice if you want to actually visually view that. So if you did want to make, say, the video 235.1, you could then just have that, and then you'll know that you've got a film within those two lines there, which is nice. You can also change your auxiliary line color. So if that was turned on, say for instance you're shooting 235.1, and I then could change those colors too, so it'll become black, red, green, so you can change those colors as well. Just leave it as white. Transparency you can also put off. Let me return. Picture settings, this is where you can have your scan modes down here as well. Your aspect ratio can be changed through here. So that's where your aspect ratios are changed. So you'll see it'll change that on the fly. So you'll see them inside. Now you can either do it through your grid lines like I showed before, or you could have your shooting in that format. Your scan mode down here, you can have under or over scan. Pixel to pixel is through here as well. You've got zoom. So your zoom settings, you can actually go 1 times, 2 times, 4 times. I've set a quick key on this and I'll show you that. 8 times and 10 times, so it's great if you're doing your manual focusing. You can flip your screen if you have this upside down. You can also flip vertical and horizontal. You can freeze this screen as well, so if you did want to do that and I move the camera, it won't move. Noise reduction is just on middle, and return. You've got color settings, so you can change in here anything you like. So you can change your contrast ratio, saturation, hue, sharpness, brightness. I've got my brightness set at 100. Color temperature you can change too. So you can calibrate this to look exactly like it is on your output, which is nice and handy. Your hotkey settings, you do have 3 of them, which are the buttons up the top. I've got mine set for false color, which I'll show you in a minute. You've got focus peaking, and also I've got the F3 on zoom. Under your other settings, you've got language, transparency, there's OSD time, volume, and also reset and software upgrade. So that's where those settings are, and also your battery info. You could put that through here. So battery info is now on. Return, and then you can exit those settings. You can see now battery's showing through here, so it gives you voltage that's there. Now the thing is with these quick keys up the top, like now if I press those the way I've set them, if I press the first one it will give me false color. You can see that there. Now if I press there on the exit, this is where you get that scale which will show you how your exposure is. So you can see at the moment the little bit of the Dalek in the middle there is a little bit overexposed. So if I did change my exposure and go up, you'll notice that that will disappear. So it's how you can get perfect exposure. Great for doing your skin tones and things like that. I've just overexposed a little bit so you can see these settings. That's your IRE settings through here. Let me just turn that off. The next one I've got is focus peaking. So if I go to manual focus on this camera, let me change this to manual. So let me now see if I can focus. So if I come through here and focus, you'll see that now the focus peaking lines are going to show up on the Dalek itself. So that's one way that you can get your focus in. And the last thing I've got in here is zoom. So if I zoom, you can also then zoom right in, like that's 1.4 times. If I click again, it's going to go 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, etc., and 10 times. So you've got massive amounts of zooming that you can do. Now that can be like a big advantage if you wanted to check critical focus in those areas and then move around. Your focus peaking will still work if you look there. So that's really cool as well. So let me know what you think about that. I think overall it's a really good, cheap option. I mean, you're not paying a lot of money for this compared to a lot of other monitors out there. The issues, I suppose, yes, there are a couple. I mean, it's not a touch screen, but I do find that it works quite well just having that scroll wheel that you can just click to get to your menus. There also is no HDMI pass-through, so you can't take a HDMI out, which can be an issue too if you'd like to go to other monitors and things like that. And you also can't load LUTs into this like you can with some of the more expensive units. I mean, Desview do have ones that you can do that with, but you'd have to buy a higher rated model. But for the price what this is, I think it's amazing. Like I said, if you just want to put this on a gimbal, just have it on camera, and you want to have a nice cheap option that will give you a lovely result, great for manual focusing, things like that, this is a really nice solution, as long as you understand that there is some flaws there as well. So let me know if you have any questions down below, and I'll see you all soon for the next video. Bye for now.